Well, despite our many well publicised issues both on the road and against the top sides in the Premier League this year, we've still got a chance to make it a very good season. On course for Europe and today, possibly a domestic cup final. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 114 of The Head Coach with me, Daniel. We are back today to face Pep Guardiola's Tottenham Hotspur. No longer Spursy, they won a Premier League title, but 2 years later, they are the team doing us a favour. They're in 8th place, they are one of the big teams dropping out of the European spots, and today they've given us a slender advantage as we head to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in the second leg of the League Cup semi-final. So it might be a chance for us to win a trophy, which would be an incredible thing for our first season. And they're also giving us a chance to get into Europe, which would make us sleep even better, having 2 good routes into Europe for next season. We're also in the middle of the January transfer window with no sign of any senior players coming in or out yet. So if you're looking forward to seeing what happens today, as we go away to leaders Liverpool in the league after this Carabao Cup semi, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. We're starting to get players back from injury, we're starting to boost the squad again, and we would have been coming up against another former player in Dan Ter, but unfortunately he is suspended. Let me start by showing you the transfer screen just so you can see one youngster potentially coming in with a work permit, and a couple of players I think have been loaned out. João Diaz was sold before the last episode, but that has now officially gone through. £15 million to Metz, who have now consistently become one of the best sides in France. And of course, we've lent out another youngster to Espanyol. Seems like the whole world's going there at the minute. And no sign of anyone in or out, which is a worry when there's not that much money left, but enough to do something, I would say. Particularly when you look at some of these youngsters in the scout recommendations. But it's not affected us on the pitch too much. Since you were with me, 4 wins, 3 of them by 1-0. A very different style to what we've seen earlier in the season. A 1-0 win at Sheffield United, Joel North getting the winner. A 1-0 win at home to Palace with a late Joseph Taylor goal, and a 1-0 win in the first leg of the Carabao Cup semi with Guido scoring a brilliant early team move. We didn't capitalise on our dominance in that game, and away from home it might be a source of regret. We did beat Exeter by 6-1 in the FA Cup though, a first goal for the club for Roberto Garmedia. He is a young under-18 striker who looks pretty good, but also 2 for Cabades, 2 for Joseph Taylor, and 1 for Hervenhoff as well. And now it's 3 tricky games in succession, the first 2 of them away from home. But tonight we know that if we get the draw we got earlier in the season in the league at Spurs, we will be through to the Carabao Cup final. So a bit tricky in deciding how to play this one, but I'm going for it. We're going to drop to balance, but we'll keep everything else the same. And from the Exeter game at the weekend, where we had a very rotated side, we should be well rested and back to full strength. A couple of former England players in the team against us today. There's Jordan Ramsey at centre-half, who's that 6'6" defender. He is going to cane us from set pieces because we've got no height at all. And Usman on the left wing, who I'm pretty sure was at Fulham before, but he's now made the move to Tottenham Hotspur. So let's go and pick our team. Lots of changes to be made. We'll be back in a minute to run through the 11. Well, I'm afraid we do have to start with a worry ahead of this game because 5 of the 10 outfield players are 1 yellow card from a suspension. So we could potentially have half the team out of the final, but as long as we get there, that would be great. We've also got a few players just coming back from injury to fitness, and a few of them trying to find form again, and 2 youngsters on the bench due to the lack of depth. But because we played Exeter at the weekend, we've been able to play our cup team on Saturday, and this one will be back to our first 11. It means Robles in goal, second game back after injury. The first one was the first leg. We've got Simmons and Duffy, the fullbacks, with Klishin back in alongside Deverlay as centre-half. Hodgkinson and Ocon the midfield too. Guido, the first leg hero, ahead of them. And then Baysal and De Buen on the wings, with Demeter through the middle. Joel North gets a rest. He's just finding a little bit of a tough patch at the minute. But he's training well, he's doing well. We've got some big hitters on the bench. Joseph Taylor continues to impress. Cabades was brilliant against Exeter. There's confidence, there's form, but will it be enough? We're going to drop to balanced away at Tottenham, and I hope we can get the draw we need to get through. It's Pep Guardiola's side, a rotated goalkeeper, a couple of changes in midfield, but they had a weaker cup tie in the FA Cup as well, so they made a few changes too. Maybe a surprise that Blasco's not playing. He's not in the squad, so maybe had an injury. Otherwise, it's the first team. We know that they've got a good squad. They won the Premier League 2 years ago. How weak can they really be? We're going to drop to balanced here. We're going to head into the first half. Just cross your fingers. Anything other than a defeat is enough for us to get through. I don't really care how ugly it is. I just want to get the win. Well, early doors is a Tottenham corner. It's not a good sign. Oh, no. Robles has had a howl-up just 4 minutes in. He's come for a corner and got nowhere near it. I wouldn't have minded if the 6'6" player scored from a set piece. But when it's Usman, who, he is tall enough. No, he's not. He's 5'8". I mean, that's a joke, isn't it? The goalkeeper just completely mistimes it. And it's an empty net to head into. If he'd stayed on his line, he probably stops it. Now we're on the back foot and you'd argue we're underdogs. We've not got good form away from home this year. And Spurs have got the one thing that we really struggle with, height. Because we just have not got that physical competition. There's no sign of any players coming in. There's no sign that we're going to get any taller anytime soon. So I think we're going to have to put up with it and just try and hit them another way. Can we have a goal threat while dropping to balanced? I'm not too sure. Not see much of it this year, other than at Spurs, ironically. And Pena plays the ball back to Ramsey as we're camped in our own half. Not really pressing at the moment, though Simmons wins it back. Instead of looking for Demeter, just hoofs it upfield aimlessly. It's straight to their centre half. They get down the other end with Usman. In the end, we're lucky that his shot's wayward. It's 1-0 on the night. It's 1-1 on aggregate. And Spurs look like they're going to batter us. I'm going to encourage the lads, as we've got a throw in with Simmons on the left to Baysal. Can we work the ball forward here? Simmons cuts inside. Big switch of play to De Bruyne. Why are you waiting for the ball? Go and attack the ball. Go and show a little bit of desire. That one's offside. VAR will check it. But we are living so dangerously here, and we can't just wait to be beaten. I know we've dropped to balance, but this is pathetic. You would go and attack the ball at the very least. The goal is disallowed. It stays 1-0. Oh, it's not going to be long though, is it? Well, here we are with 5 minutes to the break. It's De Bruyne on the right-hand side, a source of pain for me earlier on. But he finds Duffy and Ocon, and he's got it back again. We'd like a smash and grab. De Bruyne gets in. It's a great save, Savage. Cleared away as far as Hodgkinson. He breaks down the right. He's going to have to cut back on that left foot. Oh, it's so lackadaisical in possession. We just take too long over everything. But that was the chance. And unfortunately, we're not going to get many the way we're playing tonight. So we probably need to take them. We're going to tell the lads to prove a point because it wasn't great that first half, if we're being honest. And I know we're setting up to counter. We've done a lot better than that in the past. And we're going to have to if we want to get through here. We just need to create a couple of chances. Demeter, since he's come back from injury, has looked awful. De Bruyne's had a stinker. Baysal so on and off. Clichin's been poor again. I think we're going to need to go for subs here. I'm not going to worry about the yellow cards, but we're going to take a hesitant Clichin off for Hervenhoff. Humphreys will come on for Simmons. We'll switch sides with Duffy. We're going to go for De Bruyne on the right wing. He'll be replaced by... I'm going to gamble with probably Kabadis after this. In fact, no, we're going to go Joe Taylor. Let's stick with what we're good at. And then Demeter replaced by Joel North, who often pops up with a goal. Means Guido will be an inverted winger on attack. Baysal, he will change to an inside forward. We'll see if it does anything different. We've got one more sub to make. We'll save it in case of injuries. We're 25 to go. We've been a little better second half, but we still haven't looked like scoring. Baysal's really struggling, as is Hodgkinson. And it's another Spurs corner, which is almost inevitable. Oh, he's not done it again. What is wrong with Robles? By the way, how has he got a 7.4 rating? He completely missed the ball for the goal. He nearly dropped one in his own net there. I mean, surely there's got to be a bit of perspective. Baysal's going to be replaced on the left. Kabadis will come on for him. We'll put Taylor out to the left-hand side. He does a decent job as a winger on attack. And Kabadis will play. Will he play where he did last time? No. We're going to put him as fresh legs in the centre of the park and Ocon as the number 10 because he's a striker. He's a goal threat. We've now got officially 3 strikers on the pitch. Guido's a good finisher as well. Kabadis isn't bad. He showed his craft on Saturday. This is better opposition though. We're growing into it with Ocon. Running across the centre circle. He's got space. He's dropping deeper, which is causing confusion. Up towards North, who loses the header, but it's clear to Guido. Support down the right from Ocon. North's in the middle. There's 2 supporting. Kabadis is one of them. He cuts it back to Humphreys. What sort of pass is that? Oh, you've got to get the basics right. And when you're giving away 5-yard passes, literally starting the Spurs counter-attack for them, you get what's coming to you. Though Hodgkinson's done really well. He nicks it up to North, who flicks on for Taylor. Support in the middle from Ocon. Oh, the pass is dreadful. Hodgkinson to Guido. Oh, it's off the bar and over. I mean, the standard of passing has been atrocious in this game. And considering some of the players we've got is a shambles, but we are growing into this late on. We're still so vulnerable to the counter though. And here comes another one now with Kovac. Duffy doesn't get out in time. He's back to Pena. Man's running off him. Duffy's been caught out of position. So cross to Rooney, who scores off the underside of the bar. Well, now we're going to have to go for it because we're 2-0 down on 2-1 on aggregate. And I don't know what to say. How many good chances or opportunities to create chances have we had? You can have no complaints over the course of the game, but the reason our XG is only 0.91 is because some players have made awful decisions when 25 yards out with great opportunities. Instead of creating a chance, they've led us to a world of trouble. Spurs get through, our away woes continue against the top teams. So now we've got to go to league leaders Liverpool and try and do something in the league because there's more pressure now on getting into Europe via that route. Well, what is the first thing you want when you get beaten in the semi-final of a cup late on in a midweek game? That's right, you want to travel to your rival and league leaders in the very next fixture. We're going to get pummeled here, aren't we? We're going away to Liverpool. Chelsea have just won 2-0. Spurs have lost again, though. There's the positive. So no matter what happens here, we do keep our place. They lost to Newcastle. So although it might be 7th and only 7th because the other teams above us keep winning, it is going to be European football the way we're going, unless Palace want to try and stop us. For Liverpool, it's a very experienced team. They've got a few of those England internationals we know well. Harvey Elliott still going, Emre Tezjo up front, Hafiz Al-Clousdale, legends from our England squad. Who else have they got in there? Alfie Devine, Anderson, that holding midfielder who was on the cusp of our squad. He is now a world-class wonder kid. And looking further back, they've got quality in defence. They're a good side. Let's go and have a look at what we can put out. It's going to be pretty similar, but Ocon has picked up a knock. He'll be replaced by Carlos, who was cup-tied in midweek. The rest of the squad will stay as it is because we don't have any other options. Walker is back from injury in the under-23s. He will replace Garmendia on the bench. And then I'm debating whether I bring Joel North back in. And I think I'm going to. De Bruyne is going to drop out. We're going to take pressure off Demeter by putting him out to the right. And I'm also going to take off Klishint for Hervenhov. Because, I mean, they're both playing poorly. So let's put the one in who's not unhappy. We're going to submit the team. I'm not expecting a better result. If anything, less than 5 is probably a good performance here. We won 3-0 at home to them. We will not be repeating that. Rio Williams has dropped out of their team. Another one of our England legends. Sobolai still going strong. And on the bench, they've got that Georgian who used to score every game against us for Palace. So it's going to be a difficult night. We're going to ask the lads to impress us. But let's be honest, as long as we don't get battered, I am a very happy man. We dropped to balance, but we'll go for an attacking winger. Let's see how it goes. We're going to Anfield, and I expect nothing. Well, here we are on the left-hand side early doors. Long throw from Simmons. Not sure why he's taking that. I picked quick throws, and now we're taking our time and putting them long into the box. It's unheard of. Demeter scored there on the volley. It's miles offside, though. And, of course, the one that's going in the back of the net has to be the one that was offside, because your strikers can always finish when they're not onside. We go to the goal review. There it's disallowed. It stays 0-0. Could have been the perfect start. It's a dangerous looking free kick here. We all know about the Wolves in FM23. They don't cover that near post for those outswinging deliveries. And this time it's over the bar, but not a great effort. I should have been excited about the offside goal, really. We don't often have a shot in these games away from home. It doesn't go down on the statistics, albeit we've had one since. With 20 minutes gone, it's 0-0. And to be honest, I'm quite happy with that. Tezjo's got to be closed down. He's creating more chances. But we have got half an hour in without conceding, which is a miracle. We've not had a lot of shots against us either, as Carlos goes for the big ball to Baysal. Across goal to North, who doesn't attack it. Simmons back in, no one there, and Martinez will pick it up easily. Could have done with a little bit of pressure on him. Big ball over the top towards Clousdale. He wins the header, of course. Tezjo brings it down. Hervenhoff just basically gives him back the ball. Elliott plays a 1-2 with Devine. We know their qualities well. And it's another, well, I was going to swear, but it's a pretty poor goal to concede. And I don't understand why your centre-half's committing to the floor. It's something we mentioned earlier, isn't it? To have centre halves that aren't that tall and aren't that dominant or physical in the air is one thing. To then have ones that can't play football is another. To then have ones that aren't brilliant decision makers, it's just an awful combination. And as I've said throughout this season, centre halves are average Premier League level and it's costing us on the big stage. You look at this game, we've not been that poor. One shot on target for Liverpool. But at half time it's 0-0. We've not taken our chances. We're not getting high enough up the pitch. And at the moment, we're just having to see these games through. I'm still confident we get top 7 because we've been so consistent against the bottom half sides. And it's been the story of the season. But I want to show you these top games and we're getting embarrassed in most of them. As Demeter heads the ball away here to Deluge. It is a promising sign for next season though. If we can add in a little bit of quality that will just get us over the line in 1 or 2 of these games, it could well be a very good season for us next year. As Guido nicks the ball, gives it straight away again. What are you doing? How many times in the big game since the update do you see a red card? And it's not from players that are hugely aggressive or over-exuberant in tackles. He's probably our least aggressive player on the pitch, but he's flown into one there. I mean, you can't legislate for that. We're not going to replace him. The number 10 was the luxury. He'll now miss games that are important for us, the games that we'd expect to win with his creativity. And that's an absolute disaster. Any chance of getting a result now is gone. I don't want to drop to cautious because if we invite too much pressure, we'll let him 4 or 5. Robles watches that ball hit his bar, doesn't even try and save it. And is out for a goal kick, which Duffy takes to Carlos. He loses possession in his own half. Runs into a blind alley. Tesgel puts it in. Might have been offside. I think it was all right. You can't keep giving the ball away like this. Someone tell me why it's happening. We've got good midfielders on the ball. Hodgkinson and Carlos keep losing the ball. Is it that the runners aren't giving them an option? Is it just lack of concentration? Is it the fact that they're looking for a longer ball? I don't know, but we can't handle it. We're getting beaten, and with 10 men, this ain't going to end well. We've got 6 days off after this, so I don't have to worry too much about resting people and that, but it could get out of hand if we're not careful. Elliott's just run in and made it 3. At what point do we go to damage limitation? In fact, I'm going to stay with balance, but we're going to drop the fullbacks to defensive because we've just got to protect them now. I mean, it's so infuriating knowing that we can't compete with these sides. And being Manchester United, it seems like an odd thing. But I've got to keep my head at this point and just remind myself that, look, we're okay against the bottom half. We're going to get 7th place. With European money, European football, the financial problems will resolve themselves. The transfer budget will go back up. And then we can start to move on again. But for now, let's go to a proper 4-4-1. We're going to put Demeter up front and take North off because he's been absolutely useless. De Bruyne will come on as a right midfielder on support. We're also going to bring on who can play off the left. Not really anyone, to be honest. It's a bit of a worry. We've got no one who can play left midfield. It's going to have to be Joseph Taylor, isn't it? Or do I go for Humphreys and have the more defensive option? I think I might do that. We'll put Humphreys on. He will be a winger on support. And then looking further back, I could make a change in the middle. Hodgkinson struggling. Yellow from a suspension. We'll bring Kabadis on for him. They're the 3 I'm going to make for now. We'll leave it a few more minutes. I might then give like a Devilay a rest because he plays nearly every minute for us. Just needs a little bit of fresh blood in this team, doesn't it? We're going to have to stay calm. We're going to have to make sure we win those games against the bottom half teams. I don't want to get the morale down too much. I don't want to take a 6, 7 or 8, which is why I do this at 2 or 3-0. Because it's important that we keep our morale up for those games, which for us are our cup finals. Playing against the top 10 are our cup finals. We need to win every single one of them because that's what's going to get us in the Conference League or Europa League next year. Here they go again. That's offside. We get away with that one. Devilay shattered at the back. We're going to bring Klishin on for him. And then the final change, what do we do? Carlos very frustrated. Let's give Jimenez a run out. We don't want to risk another red card, do we? 15 minutes to go. The goal is ruled out. And it stays 3-0, which with 10 men wouldn't be a disaster. The annoying thing is, we were half in this game until Guido got sent off. And after a decent first half, what a way to throw your tie away. And the problem is, against these big sides, we're going down without much of a fight. We've not got that mentality for it. We need a couple of ball busters in the team. We need some leaders. We need some people who won't give the bloody ball away every 5 minutes. I don't think I've ever managed at the very top in FM. in the last 4 or 5 years since it's come in, where I've had so many defenders who can't play on the ball. And when you take away the fact they're not physically imposing, they're losing us goals from corners with headers as well. To then have the fact they can't play football is so beyond frustrating, I can't explain it. They give the ball away, they don't win headers, they make silly mistakes. It's just calm, just calm. You've got easier games coming up, you're going to be all right. I have to start talking to myself here. Anyone know any numbers for some therapists? We might have to see if we've got one in the club, because this is going to be a long old season. Thankfully, we have got a good run of fixtures. That chunk that we had in November and December, they're coming up again in February and March, and we've got to win them because the last 4 or 5 games of the season are tough, and I don't want to need results in them, as Sobolai gets it back to Riley. We have drawn Championship Leicester at home in the FA Cup, so maybe we can go on a run in that one as well. I think that goal's going to count. The clue, as we mentioned last time, the assistance flag didn't go up, and when that's the case, it's normally onside. Let's see if they've made it 4 with 5 minutes to go. You bet they have. 4-0 Liverpool. Very long day at the office. They've been ruthless. 5 shots on goal. 4 of them scored. 1.5 expected goals. 4 actual goals. And since the red card, we've offered nothing. An awful moment for Guido. Always happens in the big games. And yes, we were underdogs, but we played like it. Now let's go and see when we're going to be back. Maybe I need to show you winnable games just to get my happy streak back again. Remember what it was like on the first day of the season? I need to have one like that, don't I? Well, Guido is suspended for 1 game. No way I'm appealing that. He's probably going to miss more as well because it will get extended. And that means he's going to miss crucial games. We've got West Ham at home next, where they're a top side, but normally at home we can nick a point at the very least. Then we've got a run of must-wins. Fulham, Wolves, Championship Leicester in the FA Cup, Stoke, Leeds, Brentford, Luton. Gotta be victories. Then we get towards the end of the season. Spurs, Newcastle, City and Chelsea. But they are all at home. And that's the benefit of that run we went on earlier in the season. We have now played, and I think I want to get this right here. Bear with me a moment. I think the highest placed side we've got left to face away from home is probably Bournemouth in 10th place. So we have played all of the top 9 on the road now. Maybe I should be a little less critical. We've lost 7 games this season, all of them away from home, and all of them against sides in the top 9. And then Tottenham, of course, we drew against. We've lost against Palace, Newcastle, West Ham, Chelsea, Arsenal, City and Liverpool away. We have actually just played all of the top 9 on the road. Do you know what? I'm feeling a little bit better now. We've got all the bottom half away from home, which will probably be the acid test, and then all of the top half at home again. If we get it right, this could still be a very big finish to the season, because despite the 7 defeats, despite some of the hammerings, our goal difference isn't a million miles off the next 2, and we're only 5 points off 4th. So bar that top 2, there's not many consistent teams in this league. Hopefully John Murtough, I'm not holding up much hope, but might give us one little addition to the squad. Just someone who can give us a new lease of life. We have got a young defender in who might make the bench when we're desperate, but it's not really what we're looking for as a first choice replacement. For now though, when we come back, it's probably going to be determined by who we get in the cup. If not, I'll aim around that Spurs game at the start of April. But to be honest with you, we get a big FA Cup tie. That's what we're going to show next, because that's all we've got to play for this season bar Europe. If you did enjoy this one though, 2 more heartbreaking defeats away at the top sides. What is that mentality shift when we play those top teams on the road? And please do put a thumbs up on the video. Suggestions down in the comments, albeit the rest of the season is now winnable games. Home to the big teams, away to the littler teams. It's going to be a real test of our consistency. If you want to stay up to date, find out what we do, how John Murtough does in the rest of the window as well. And please do subscribe and turn that notification bell on. We had a thrilling climax to our Build a Nation season yesterday. That one is up in the high above. We'll have a season review from that tomorrow before returning here in 2 days' time. And hopefully, I'll be in a bit of a better mood now because we've got all those awful away games out the way.